Welcome, everybody. It's another edition of the Sports Hole. I'm your host, Luke. With me, as always, XFL Jim, Rock and Roll, Matty Goldberg.
Rock and roll.
What's up,
Save the
sluts?
soul.
This might be the show that actually makes it to YouTube. We will
That was
see.
in
I
the
know
movie
people are
first.
clamoring to see our hot guy faces.
We were supposed to do
Oh.
Halloween, by the way, and I just want to say I was a little lazy, but I was 80% in and dressing like Jim for the show. I had a beard, so I was gonna have a mustache and I had a Hawaiian shirt.
You want to go behind the scenes? Because I had a power outage that day. I had a Halloween power outage for like 2.5 hours. It was the entire neighborhood.
It must have been.
Are they still trick or treating?
There were kids out trick or treating. I drove to go check on a friend's house, and
That's kind of spooky.
what?
A power outage on Halloween.
Yeah, it was very spooky.
Is your neighborhood on an Indian reservation?
It is not. Apparently, I talked with one of my coworkers. A transformer blew because he said he heard like a big boom, and then the power went out.
Do you think somebody did it?
Were you trying to relate this to Poltergeist?
Yeah.
I mean, if the power went out, I'd be freaked out on Halloween.
I just went over to IHOP and sat it out a little bit.
Oh, there you go. IHOP had power.
So IHOP was on the side of the highway that did have power. Walmart didn't have power.
When you're at IHOP, do you order food or pancakes?
A little bit of, so I
Isn't food pancakes, Maddie? In your
I know,
world?
because they have food now.
I tried to be adventurous.
They've always had food.
I got the steak and eggs.
Was it good?
I doused that shit in A1
Did you even get
to
pancakes?
make it edible. Yeah, I got pancakes with it.
Okay.
You don't go to IHOP and not get pancakes, Maddie. What the hell are you talking about?
I tried to watch this movie that just came out. I'm sure you saw the Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, that's even like kids younger than me are super into that. My little cousin is super into Five Nights at Freddy's.
It was the worst movie I ever saw.
Really?
Maddie, I don't know why you would go see that movie.
I didn't see it. I have it for free on Peacock.
I'm
like, it's a new horror movie. You might as well go see it.
It's like for kids.
It's for kids, Maddie.
Really?
Yeah, like middle schoolers and high schoolers and really early college love that shit.
You wouldn't
I thought it was like a horror movie.
It is, but it's based off a video game series that came out like 6 or 7 years ago or something like that.
Tell you about it. It was so bad, and there's only 2 characters in it. I'm gonna give you the spoilers because I don't give a shit.
The hunky Josh Hutcherson.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. He's the good guy, and then there's Matthew Lillard plays the creepy guy that gives him a job.
Rest in peace.
Is he dead?
No, that's the other Matthew.
Oh, Matthew. Yeah.
And I have a great Matthew Perry story coming up later on.
And I got a great Matthew Lillard, but I'll tell you
You're
this.
welcome for that.
So Matthew Lillard plays the creepy guy that hires him to work there, and there's like another plot where his brother is abducted when he's a kid. And he's trying to figure out who abducted his brother. And it's like, well, it only could be Matthew Lillard because he's the only guy that's in the movie besides him.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And that's it? That's who
it
is? Was he like spastic Matthew
of course,
Lillard?
He plays he's like, hey, you want a job?
What'd you think of all the spooky animatronics, Maddie?
It was so bad. It was not scary. It wasn't funny. It was just really badly executed. And it made 70 mil, and I'm shocked.
Maddie, you would be crazy when you see how in love with Five Nights at Freddy, like
I didn't know. I thought it was this is the new horror movie.
You're like judging it like it's Killers of the Flower Moon or something, but it's just like a fucking kids video game.
The kids love this shit. And I will be like, I'll be on the side of the kids a little bit that like there's an objectively bad movie that I still love because it's based off of one of my favorite games and I hold it like dear to my heart. When I saw Warcraft in theaters, I gushed over it.
Well, this sucked.
That movie was shit.
I saw it at the drive-in. And it's also like the 4th or 5th movie about scary animatronics in the last 5 years.
So like the games came out, I think in like 2015 or something like that. And then everyone's been trying to capitalize on how big the games were by making movies based on scary animatronics.
Yeah.
And this is just, I think this movie was it's been like rumored since 2016 or 17. It's been like a 7-year almost like whole deal. Have you guys seen any of those other animatronic?
I've
like,
seen all
movies?
of them. I saw the Nick Cage one. That was fun.
That one was fun.
Wally World or something.
Yeah, like Willy's Wacky something, whatever.
There was one called the Banana Splits movie.
Love the Banana Splits.
There was a short called The Hug.
Yep.
There was and then there's one more, I think. I might be forgetting. I know I'm forgetting, but there was like another one too.
I love the Banana Splits because it's just dudes in costumes.
Right.
And they're supposed to be robots.
I haven't seen any of these movies.
Man,
Banana Splits is hilarious.
Sometimes.
Do you want to hear the Lillard story or the Matthew Perry story first?
Wait, you have a Lillard story?
Oh yeah, I got a good one.
Might as well just go with the Lillard story.
I mean, that's why people tune in to hear this.
My Lillard story is really short. So like,
no, that's fine.
So my sister's a writer, and every once in a while she'll write with people. So he was fat as a kid, and he was writing. She was like helping with a script that he was developing as like a fat kid. And I was living with her at the time. I go upstairs and I see him, and like I instantly recognize him, and I'm like, I'm a little starstruck. And I'm like, oh, you're Matthew Lillard. He's like, yeah. I'm like, I know you from that really bad baseball movie. And then I was like, oh shit, I think I said the wrong thing. And then he looked at me. He goes, which one was it? Because I was in 2 really bad baseball movies.
He did always strike me as a guy that seemed pretty chill.
What were those movies?
Well, Summer Catch with Freddie Prinze Jr.
Oh God.
And then another one was like Trouble with the Curve.
Oh, the Clint Eastwood one?
Yeah, which was okay. Bad? Well, he said he was in 2 bad ones. So I think
you heard it, Clint.
I thought like I really offended him because he stopped and he was like thinking about what to say, and then he
beat you because that was even funnier.
Yeah. No, that was really funny.
All right.
The Summer Catch is pretty bad. I don't know if you ever saw that.
Was as bad as the World Series?
Yeah.
Hey.
You know why? Because Jessica Biel's in it. No. Holy shit.
I'll tell you something. Didn't watch a lick of baseball all year.
Hold on. I have a Jessica Biel side story. Ooh. I early on when I moved to LA, I was living by Brentwood, and I was like in front of her at the line in Whole Foods, and I was buying like colon cleanser.
Yes.
So I mean, it was just the most LA moment there.
It happens, bro.
It does happen.
And so she probably bought some right after you.
She probably did. She was looking insanely good.
She's like, what aisle was that in?
Yeah. No, they all do. Everybody in LA is cleaning out their butts.
He was in that bad baseball movie too.
That's right. I should go, hey, aren't you from that bad baseball movie, Jessica Biel?
Yeah.
Anyway, World Series, Maddie, give us a lowdown on the baseball season.
The whole playoffs sucked. There was 2 good games. It was a shit show because we got invested in all these good teams. They all shit the bed the first round. So there was really like 2 good games. The World Series game 1, and then a game between the Astros and the Rangers. Besides that, the playoffs were boring. It was just like, forget about big market, small market. There was absolutely no drama. Texas, legitimately won. Arizona was just kind of happy to be there. And it just, for what baseball needs to get healthy, it did not serve its purpose. It really didn't. Like you needed like an electric playoffs to kind of get baseball back. And this was the absolute opposite. Like only football can survive like blowouts in the playoffs and still survive. And even like, look, the Super Bowl was a 3-point game. The Bengals Chiefs game was great. The Eagles 49ers was terrible, but the baseball playoffs was just, it was absolutely a snooze fest. Unless you were gambling on it, those weren't your teams, there was just no. It just felt like there was no emotional involvement. And then you have these teams like the Orioles, the Braves, and the Dodgers who had incredible regular seasons, and they shit the bed. I think they won 1 game combined out of the 3 teams.
Yeesh.
Yeah, so, it was rough, man. And this is also the least watched World Series ever, of course, if you didn't think that already.
They got to figure something out. Like they're really getting crushed right now by football, basketball, and even hockey. Even soccer is killing them. And I don't know what they can do. I really don't. It's odd because baseball was number one for so long.
I think it's just people have just cut into the pie a little more, and I don't know how much more what more you can do,
Well, the truth of the matter is the NFL does know. Like when you talk about these Chiefs games being rigged, when the Red Sox and Yankees were the best team 20 years ago, although it did feel like it was excluding a lot of people and a lot of fan bases, the ratings were massive. The drama was massive. And when you have Arizona and Texas, unless you're in those markets, and not even because like nobody showed up to Arizona this whole year until the World Series. So it's like, how much were they even invested?
No, it's real silly, especially when you have two teams like that really only people in those markets care about.
Yeah.
Diamondbacks are still a newer team. Rangers comparatively they're only like 63 years old.
Do you think that's more of like a baseball? Like, do you think that would happen in other sports too?
Well, the game, like I said, only the NFL can survive an absolute boring playoffs. And there just wasn't a lot of drama. There wasn't a lot. If there was like a 7-game series and a lot of close nail biting games.
That's what I'm with you, man. Like if there's a lot of close games, I feel like the small market thing isn't as big of a deal.
No, it's not anymore. And like as even the Yankees general manager said, when you get to the playoffs, it's a crapshoot. So like you can win 100 games. The Diamondbacks were 6 games over, and teams that were 40 games over didn't even win a playoff game. So it becomes just a crapshoot, and then you don't have big market teams, and then you don't have close games. So when it's like 7-1, 10-2,
that was
bored.
I thought it was pretty interesting. I mean, Arizona I found very interesting because they were like, they were going against the team of destiny and won, even then coming back, and I thought that was interesting. And then just the Texans blew him out of the water in the World Series.
I will say this about Bruce Bochy. I mean, he's got to be a fantastic manager because he's won 3 with the Giants. You probably can't name a lot of the Giants that were on that team besides Posey and Baumgartner.
Yeah.
And he goes to Texas. They lost 90 games 2 years ago, and they won 11 games on the road in the playoffs. And they even won without Jacob deGrom, who was their, they signed all this money on the off season, and he didn't even pitch the whole year.
Right.
So he's a hell of a manager, but as far as entertainment, it was boring as fuck. I mean, I love the NHL playoffs. I love the NBA playoffs, but this was boring. And I mean, that's all I can say about it. It's
all right. Well, we'll move to something that isn't boring or wasn't boring, and that's deceased coach Robert Knight, Bobby Knight.
Bobby Knight.
Hell of a coach. Yes. Polarizing figure in media as well.
Jim's time, unfortunately.
A little bit.
So I happened to grow up in the second ladder of his career.
Yeah.
And he was like one of those guys, like when you're a little kid, you're scared of. Like you assume like if he coaches you, he just screams at you every second and like it's the military. And he was an intense guy. He definitely was. And some of his rants are pretty legendary. Some of his quotes are pretty legendary. He did say when he's buried, he wants to be buried on his stomach so his critics could kiss his ass.
He also said if you're going to get raped, you might as well sit back and enjoy it.
He did say that.
Yeah, I did hear about that one.
He angered a few people with that. Yeah. So he used to coach at Army too, and his assistants were Coach K and Bill Parcells.
Well, Coach K was on his team.
Oh, was on his team. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And then Bill Parcells was like his assistant though, right? Isn't that?
I don't know. I never heard that one, but I could believe it.
Yeah.
But he coached Coach K, and they had a falling out in the early 90s. As a matter of fact, one of the weirdest things ever is when they played each other in the Final Four. Bobby Knight gave him a letter after the game, like saying how ungrateful Coach K was.
I love that move.
That is so. That sounds like Bobby Heenan move right there.
Also, I was watching a documentary about Duke, and he was talking about your Fab Five, and he was just like, I hate Michigan. I hate the Fab Five. He's like, I was rooting so hard for Duke because to let those awful guys win would have been an atrocity to basketball. I kid you not.
He was afraid of anybody with personality. Like, get the fuck out, dude.
I think his greatest quote though is, "I'm sick of losing to Purdue with a losing fucking record."
Yeah. So Bill Parcells was a part-time assistant under Knight at Army. By the way,
I can believe it, man. They all kind of learned that discipline, and he was for another time. Like his time is gone and past, and unfortunately, like his legacy will ever be tarnished for some of the awful things he's done and how he took the kid. There's a book called I forget what it's called, by John Feinstein, A Season on the Brink, where he follows him the whole season. And then there was a shitty ESPN movie. Brian Dennehy played Bobby Knight. It was kind of cheesy, but it was about like, he was just a good old hunting.
Yeah.
It was a different time.
Okay, so one of the
different guy, different time.
One of his most famous incidents was when he threw a chair in the middle of the game at Purdue.
Yep. Amazing.
During a Purdue game, and he went on Letterman. And it's funny, I was looking this up. I didn't realize like Letterman. This was like an 18-minute interview. These were very different times.
Absolutely.
Like to have like a college basketball coach on your show for that extended time is amazing. So here he was, Bobby Knight, explaining why he threw the chair in that game.
I think the next morning.
Let me bring up something here, and I know you're probably sick to death of this, and it may be the kind of thing that will follow you the rest of your life. The deal with the chair. You flipped a chair onto the floor, the Purdue game. You must be tired of hearing that.
Well, but, I've not really discussed exactly everything that went on behind it, but
there was a story behind the chair throwing.
Well, people jump at conclusions automatically with the thing, and the game is kind of going on, and I hear somebody across the floor keep hollering, "Coach! Coach! Coach Knight!" And I get all kinds of suggestions. I try not to pay any attention to it, and finally I get up, and I'm up and down a lot, and one time I'm standing up, and I look across the floor, and Coach Knight! And here's a little old lady across the floor that reminded me of my grandmother.
Oh, that's sweet.
And I thought so, and I thought particularly to take time out during the course of a tough game. And I said, "Did you want me for something?" And she just said, "If you're not going to sit down any more today than you have so far, could I have your chair?"
Sorry. Just flipped it on over. I didn't realize it. There it is. Whoa!
Yes, the man, the myth, Bob
He also
Knight.
had a whip. In a press conference, he showed how he whipped one of his players. And he used to do the game. You ever see his game face interview?
No.
Where he's like, "I don't know what a game face is." And then he goes, "What's that game face?" And he goes, "You got to see it. I can't do it justice." But he was funny. Just, the times have changed.
Yeah. Very everything. A lot of things feel very vanilla these days compared to
he's from the school of Earl, the coach of the Ohio State.
Earl Bruce. Wait, no.
Who punched the Michigan guy? It
was Woody Hayes.
Woody Hayes, yeah. Woody Hayes.
Yeah, he did.
It was a Clemson player.
Yeah, those days are over.
He got fired for that. We had another dead guy this week, Matthew Perry.
Great athlete. So what's your Matthew Perry story?
Oh, I do have a Matthew Perry story I wanted to share. So I used to work at a business, a youth hostel in Santa Monica, and we had this extra building, like this community building we were in charge of. So we allowed an acting class to be in there as long as our guests could go in for free, blah, blah, blah. The guy who ran it, he knew everybody in town. So he would get all these great actors coming in. We had like Josh Brolin and other people. And then Matthew Perry came in and spoke to the class one time. And after it was cool enough. Afterwards, he wanted to use the bathroom, and he's like waiting for the main bathroom in the lobby. I go, "Hey, do you want to come use the one in the back, the employee one?" He's like, "Yeah, sure." So I take him to the back, show him, and he does his business and leaves, and we all say goodbye, and he goes off for the night. And I go in to take a piss after him, and that toilet was just blown to pieces, just wrecked.
Well, everybody
And
shits.
Everybody does shit, but this was clogged, and he didn't notify anybody or make any attempt to unclog it. And if you know his story, then you probably know why he was blowing up the toilet, because those opiates will like fuck with
that's
you.
what he said. He said the opiates made him explode. His
he exploded.
He must have done so much shit. God rest his soul.
He did that night for sure. So anyways, after that, whenever a staff member was gonna say they were like they had to go number 2, they would just go, I'm gonna go bust a Chandler. So, and I'm only telling this story because we only have a handful of listeners.
Somehow your stories of Jessica Biel and Matthew Perry revolve around pooping.
Hey, it makes the world go
Everybody
round.
Poops.
All right.
So they say.
Well, we got the NFL. We're a little out from last week. I don't know if there's anything you want to touch on from last week.
I'm so worried that the Dolphins are going to lose this week
because
the trade lost. So I'm worried now.
Also, the trade deadline. Kirk Cousins out for the year.
Yeah.
Did it feel like this week in particular, a lot of quarterbacks, like we saw a lot of backups this week?
It was a lot of bad offense, a lot of bad games.
I like the Josh Dobbs trade because I think he's decent. And I think Arizona, for being 1-6, is one of the best 1-6 teams that play hard with no talent. And he was part of it, where he came in there with like no preseason and actually kept him in games. So I think, Minnesota's not going to do anything, but they'll remain competitive at least. I wish that there was more trades during the deadline. I guess Chase Young is big going to the 49ers.
That is a big one. The Commanders kind of ditched a lot of guys, didn't they?
Yeah. But it'd be fun to see like the Titans, if they got rid of like Henry and Hopkins and like teams like cleaning house. And it would be fun to have like 20 or 30 trades. Because it kind of is like, this guy's rumored here, this guy's rumored there. And then there's like 2 or 3 trades, and that's about it.
Yeah, it wasn't too exciting.
No.
Nothing too much
happened. The week was, then Josh McDaniels got fired. Jimmy Garoppolo was one of the worst games of his life. That was horrendous. Jimmy G, not a great quarterback.
He is terrible. Holy shit. The Lions were like trying to give him that game, and they couldn't do anything.
Well, I think it shows that the 49ers are so loaded that any guy that's kind of competent can play quarterback there.
Yeah, because now Niners have lost 3 in a row now, and the luster's kind of wearing off on Purdy.
It is.
I
think Sam Darnold can help him because it doesn't take much. It really doesn't. But missing Debo really hurts them. And really, there's 3. I'm looking at the TV right now. Only 3 real trades. Sweat to the Bears.
Yeah.
Young to the 49ers, Dobbs to the Vikings. And you're like,
are the Commanders tanking now?
Yeah.
Like they're fully tanking.
Yeah, they know. So you got to start over, get a new coach next year, figure out what you want to do, stock up draft picks.
I can't tell what the Vikings are doing either.
They need somebody to play quarterback.
They need somebody, but I don't know. Like, even when they had Cousins, I'm like, because they got rid of Cook and stuff like that, and it's just like, what are you guys doing this year? And
they tried and they were getting hot, and I'm like, they could have kept winning games with Cousins, because they lost 3 really tough 1-score games, and now they're putting it together. Now it's a shit show, because when you lose Cousins, usually when you lose your quarterback, the season's over.
Yeah.
So
he was actually playing pretty good this year too.
He was playing amazing. 16 touchdowns, 4 picks, highest rated quarterback in the league. He had a great game in Green Bay. I don't know what's going on with the Packers. Jordan Love looks like he might not be the dude. The worst game of the week was the Jets-Giants, which was a shit show.
I was laughing. That one needed overtime. It still didn't get any points.
No, it was crazy. It was so bad the Giants didn't throw a pass the second half.
Giants had minus like 9
minus 11 total.
Well,
Passing
Tommy
yard. No,
DeVito never played
passing
before.
yards. Yeah.
Yeah, minus 11 total passing yards. And I love
almost
Tommy
won.
DeVito. I'm a big Tommy DeVito fan from his time at Syracuse, but it was ugly.
Yeah.
They didn't even ever throw a pass downfield at all.
It got so bad the crowd was chanting, "Let him throw."
Yeah, because he just they would not let him do any downfield passing.
Well, they had the lead, and Zach Wilson is so bad that it's like you figure you'll literally.
Now that line is trash right now. Don't blame it all on poor young Zach.
Dude, he sucks so bad. He just doesn't get it. He has no feel for the game.
The issue with Zach Wilson is he'll show like one flash a game, and that's it. Of like, oh, dude, that play was so sick. Zach Wilson was so awesome that play, and then he just goes right back to being garbage.
The first drive of the game, he's like, he's back to pass. He's kind of like jogging, waiting, and a guy just Thibodeau nails him from behind. I'm like, in the NFL, these guys are fast. Like, you can't do that. You can do that in college and then wing a ball, but in the NFL, you can't just sit back there and think you're gonna make magic. It's about getting the ball out fast as possible.
Mm-hmm.
We did have the rise of Will Levis, 4 TDs last week.
Yeah.
I wonder if this was like an opening game sort of thing. I wonder if he's going to come back down to
really
earth.
good tonight.
Right now, he's 12 of 19 for 153.
And they're losing. The Steelers just scored a touchdown, but
he's better than Tannehill.
He's been. I don't know how they can go back to Tannehill. This guy is the future. I can tell. He's got a rocket. He's got good eyes.
Who was the other quarterback they tried to trot out there?
Malik Willis.
Malik Willis, that's right.
Willis,
yeah. That's like that falls in the Anthony Richardson let's pray for the best category, like athletic freako, you know. All right. Well, what are we looking forward to this week?
I'm worried about the Dolphins.
Germany game.
I'm so worried about it.
Deutschland.
You know why you should be worried?
Because the Chiefs lost.
Yeah, exactly. And they came back. They lost week 1. They went to Jacksonville and figured it out. So they come back and play good after a loss. Let me take a look at the schedule.
It's tough. I know the Dolphins were even looking ahead to the Patriots, and they left either Sunday evening or Monday, first thing Monday morning to go to Germany.
It's a great week. You got Seattle, Baltimore. You got Buffalo, Cincy. And you got Philly, Dallas.
It's a great weekend of just football in general.
It really is.
Both days are fantastic.
This is not a week to go pumpkin patch.
Damn right.
Yeah. Also have Cowboys, Eagles looking great.
That's going to be a good one. There's a lot of great games this week. Even Monday night, Chargers, Jets. It's kind of weird because one team has got a great defense, one team's got a great offense. Something's got to give.
Something's got to give.
But the NFL, I understand they want to make more money, but this game should be in the United States.
Why don't they play a game in China already?
They probably will. Japan.
Hey, no, it'd be like college football. Play one in the Tokyo Dome. Go to Japan, baby.
Who played in the Tokyo Dome?
Back in the 80s, Nebraska did once, and I think Notre Dame did it a couple times.
They used to do a preseason game in the Tokyo Dome.
They used to do a week 1 game for college ball.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I think they're bringing one back.
Now you just get Notre Dame plays one game in Ireland.
I feel like that might have happened more recently too, like a team playing in Japan.
The last one they called it the Coca-Cola Classic. The last one in the Tokyo Dome was in '93. It was Wisconsin versus Michigan State.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Before that, it was Nebraska K-State.
Wow.
In '92. Hey, Nebraska was ranked 11th.
So Nebraska's got 5 wins right now, huh?
Damn right.
How many did they have last year?
3?
Big improvement.
I don't remember off the top of my head.
Wait, you want to jump right into college and not talk about nonstop Michigan cheating coverage?
No, I mean, we can. I mean, it seems like it's just getting worse and worse.
You guys saw the picture, right?
What picture now? I can't even keep up with
during
this
Maction this week, of this week, Central Michigan played a MAC game.
Right.
And they look back at the week 1 game of Central Michigan versus Michigan State.
Yes.
It looked like he was there on the sideline in
that was
full coach
not
gear.
him.
It looked I actually think it might be.
Like,
I think it might have been him.
Why do you have to scout? Why do you
There
have
is
to
a 98. I am 98% certain that what is it? Greg McElwain? Jim McElwain?
Jim McElwain.
Jim McElwain.
Yeah.
Shark fucker. I am 98% certain he's met Connor Stallion when he was on the Michigan coaching staff.
Well, there's a lot of people. There's like Jed Fish.
There's a lot. But also in the leaked text messages that some people did reports on Connor Stallion, he was communicating with someone. He had help writing the Michigan manifesto. He didn't do it by himself.
It's starting to
look didn't act alone.
He did not act alone. He mentioned in the text messages the colleges of the people that helped him. There were some staff members that helped him write the Michigan manifesto. And one of the colleges he mentions is just called Central. Also, I've heard
definitely Central Michigan, because that is
100%. That's the only Central.
That's what you call them when you're in Michigan. You call them Central.
Harbaugh seems kind of like he was like, I'll answer all questions. We're innocent. And now he's like, I'm not answering any questions.
No, they're not allowed to.
And the fact that Jim McElwain, like during the press coverage, wasn't just like, no, it was a staffer. We know who it is. It's like, no, we're investigating it. I'm of the mind that was Connor Stallions. And I've heard talk from some of the players that like from Central Michigan, when they would do stuff on campus or whatever, it's not that hard to get that kind of like get up to look like you're on the staff. And he probably just walked in there.
Dude, sorry, that's on them at that point if that actually happened. I don't believe that happened.
I love it.
What do you guys think is going to happen?
Oh, what's going to happen to Michigan? I don't like from the NCAA or nothing from the NCAA because they act so slow. They're still investigating them for the other stuff.
Okay, let's say Michigan wins the national title.
Yeah.
And then next year they find out do they take away their national title?
No, because that's not up to the NCAA. That would be hilarious. It's the College Football Playoff Committee. They're not part of the NCAA.
So what will they do?
They'll probably keep it because they were asked about it during their stuff, and they're just like, we don't really care about that, basically. And like
took away
paraphrasing
the Final Fours because of
but that's the NCAA. That's the NCAA's tournament. This is the College Football Playoff Committee.
That's not run by the NCAA?
No, it's something. They're not the same entity.
Okay. What do you think happens, Luke?
I hope they win the Natty, and
I don't know. First of all, I hate 24-hour speculation on this shit for starters, because at this point, it does more harm than good to do.
Oh, it's just funny for me. I love it.
Right? But like when I see when I turn on get in the car and Jim Rome's like, "Oh, this is elaborate, dude, let me tell you," and I'm like, then it's and Stephen A. Smith, who gives no shits about college football, is chiming in on it, and of course Pat McAfee.
Pat McAfee, big time hater.
Oh, dude, when I was I showed you guys, I shared the group text. I went to Buffalo Wild Wings just to have some lunch. I'd swear to God. So there's how many TVs do you think is in a regular Buffalo Wild Wings? 50. I swear to God, like 40 of them were Pat McAfee when I went in.
You can't escape him.
He's everywhere.
By the way, this is why I want my hatred for Pat McAfee this week.
But Matt, before you get into that though, I would just like to make a shout out if somehow he's listening, because I feel like he's listening to anything that mentions Michigan. Connor Stallions, if you're listening to this, come on the Sports Hole.
Yeah. None of these opinions.
We'll do a non-biased interview. None
of these opinions are the thoughts of XFL Jim, of rock and roll Matty Goldberg. These are all my opinions. Pat McAfee's newest absurdity is this threatening of quitting game day because
what?
Yeah, he keeps saying because they did some poll that 51% of the people don't like him on it, and he's like, well, there's these traditionalists that don't appreciate what I do, so I won't be doing it next year because some of these old, and it's always these old white dudes or whatever they say, these old school guys that are traditional that don't understand what I'm bringing to the table, can't handle me. And it's you stink. You're not edgy. You're not. You're nothing.
So my opinion on that in particular, Matty, is that if he wasn't on ESPN all the time and he just did game day, I think people would be way more cool with him.
You know what I just realized? Pat McAfee has interfered with my income. And there's no Maddie might be able to piece this together.
You what?
I can't.
Well, I'll tell you guys off air.
Yeah.
It's a little,
but like
it's a little convoluted.
It's just ridiculous that this thing is like, it's like you're not like, you know, somebody's like, oh, I'm real edgy, and you're like, no, you're not edgy. You're just an asshole. You're this. Like, no, Pat, you have a lame gimmick. You do a wrestling gimmick that's lame.
He's everywhere.
That's the problem too, is like it's gonna be like these Marvel movies, which were just big early on, and now everyone is just fucking tired of them.
Of course.
And that's what it's gonna be with Pat McAfee. You know, I
feel like a year and a half ago, or 2 years ago, it was perfect.
Right. It was cool when you got you know, a podcast format of him, and that was it, and you had to go seek him out. But when he's just being pumped into your brain 24 hours, no matter which medium you're looking on, it's like, okay, dude, I can't handle this anymore.
But it's also the idea that he is portraying, like, I will give it to the Barstool guys, because when they do talk gambling, they don't give a fuck, and they say this guy stinks, this guy this guy that. It's their opinions. He's so like, everything is so calculated on who he offends, who he doesn't offend. And he doesn't really offend anybody, but it's all smoke and mirrors, and he's acting like he's this edgy, controversial guy. And it's like, no, you're just a total ass kisser wearing jorts and a Pittsburgh Penguins cut off sleeves, thinking you're edgy because you look like a 10-year-old. You don't say anything. You say nothing of substance. None of your guys say anything of substance. You're all just fence-sitting losers.
I love it.
I need to get some theme music for this segment each week.
Yeah, we do.
Like,
Maddie hates Pat.
Look up
Maddie hates Pat.
That or some like just epic build-up music.
Just listen to him crying about how he's not going to do game day because, like, the old guard can't handle how edgy he is. It's like, you're not edgy. You're lame.
Oh my
Like,
God.
going up there doing your pick as Steve Austin is played out. Just give your goddamn pick and make some opinions.
No, it's gonna be like this for a while. I think ESPN will just churn them, and, you know, spit them out after a while. I think they'll just probably ride him hard for 3-4 years.
Yeah, as long as his contract lasts.
And then he's gonna blame ESPN. He's gonna be like, they used me improperly. They oversaturated my genius. No, Pat, you're just a business guy.
Well, the thing with him too is like, okay, usually people in this thing are like, you're either you're either a journalist or you were a player, and he was a punter. So like, he's not sitting in offensive meetings, and you know, like it's like, granted, he's definitely got more insight than you and me, but come the fuck on. It's
but if
not
he
like,
hears that,
well, it's the direct player connections that he can always
he'll
tell.
go like,
sure, I get that.
Don't you fucking tell me punters aren't players. Don't you fucking tell me. Oh, we do a lot of stuff. And granted,
I'm sure you do, but like,
it's just a different game.
You know, are you on weekly defensive scheming meetings? Like, what? No, like,
not to mention he got busted because he was paying Aaron Rodgers, and that looks really bad too.
Right. It looks
he was paying
stupid
him?
as shit. Yeah, he paid him like
that?
he's
I
probably
didn't.
paid him like around $1 million, you know.
That's
so it looks
amazing.
like it's just, he's my bro coming on, and then it's like, no, you're paying him, you know. That's why.
And the interviews with, like, he's got his Nick Saban weekly, and he acts like he's so, like, when he talks to Nick Saban, he acts like he's a surfer. He's like, what's
up,
the
bro?
guy? The guy in Spicoli, and Nick Saban's the strict teacher, and he's like, he can't handle me. Like, he's coming around, bro. He's coming around to who we are. Like, he's trying, Saban. It's like,
wait, Saban deals with 18-year-olds every day.
And he also realized, like, with Saban, it's good for him because it's good for his image, because it's like, hey, go.
That's also kind of fucking lame. Like, you're interviewing an incumbent. Like, this guy is the top of the food chain, and you're just promoting that guy. Why don't you find a good personality from a D3 school in
or the G5 at the very
right. Yeah.
best.
Like interview somebody a little less known that has like a fun personality or is cool. Like you doing Saban is just doing Saban a favor.
Well, and also like Pat can play this game where he's like the outsider and the crazy guy, and can Saban handle him? And it's like Saban gets it, dude. He's not stupid.
Dude, you've made more money than Saban in the last 5 years than Saban has won winning fucking national championships left and right. So,
well, I'm not.
I don't know how much of an outsider he is these days.
Well, he pretends to be. He's given this whole like, I'm not going to do game day next year because the old guard can't handle me.
The perfect amount of Pat McAfee in my life was in 2020. He was on the XFL sideline.
He's come a long way, I'll tell you that.
Dude, when I worked at a radio station in Grand Rapids and we would cover the Grand Rapids Rampage, the Arena League team.
Love him.
We just had this super fan called Crazy Eddie, and we just put him on the sideline. He didn't know shit about anything. And it was the best because he just had all this fucking funny energy, and he just
that's why arena football is so good.
Right. And that was fun. And that you'd think that's the kind of vibe you should be getting from a Pat McAfee episode, but no, you get Nick Saban. Like
who's more oversaturated, Kelsey or McAfee?
McAfee for sure.
If you go
especially
to
ESPN,
now,
yeah. That Taylor Swift's back on tour, especially now.
Oh, thank God she's back on tour.
Oh,
you want to put a bullet in your head? Just watch. I know this is cliche, but just watch the handshake between her and Brittany Mahomes. That just like makes my.
Maddie, where are you seeing this stuff?
You haven't seen the handshake between her and Brittany Mahomes? You've seen it, Luke.
No, I haven't seen it.
Dude, look it up.
Maddie, you just seek stuff out to get mad at.
You will vomit.
That's Maddie's whole life. You don't know that.
Watch it. Watch it now, Jim.
I've gathered it.
Watch it. You want to watch it?
I'm looking up. I'm looking up right now.
If you don't
report on this, I'm looking up a different.
If you don't vomit, you're not a heterosexual American football fan. Sorry, that was a bad joke.
Oh, this was the fun. By the way, this was the funniest headline I seen during the whole Taylor Swift thing, and this was early on in September.
Did you watch it?
It was Brittany Mahomes joins Taylor Swift's group dinner, plus girlfriend of Travis Kelce's manager is there too.
Wow,
like, what a rando fucking thing to add to.
What's Jimmy's gonna be like? That's cool.
I'm trying to see what I'm looking at here. That's just a video of like them just in the booth.
Yeah, they do a handshake after they scored a touchdown.
Let me see when they get to the handshake part.
Only Maddie can get livid over a fucking handshake. Now I'm gonna watch it.
I'm watching it right now. I didn't see it.
What do you mean you didn't see it?
They didn't play it.
Fucking commercial.
Okay,
How do they know?
Here it is. Here it is. I found it.
If you don't vomit,
I'm watching it right now.
Is it awkward?
Oh, it's very stupid. It's what the Maddie, why would you get mad over that?
It makes me fucking mad.
Have you never
are you mad at the handshake itself, or are you mad that it became that big of a fucking story? Because
I'm mad it became a story. I'm mad that I'm watching football. I got
did they show it on the broadcast?
Yes.
Oh.
Well then that's stupid.
That is it's
very
really
stupid.
Bad. It is bad. I'll give it to Maddie.
I'll give it to Maddie for that. Like that's dumb.
That was it was like them basically doing a coordinated bad.
Oh, it was very stupid, but like
listen, poor Ivan Pacheco comes back to New Jersey, scores a touchdown. Rutgers alumni. Instead of showing him, his teammates, his family, look at T Swift.
Well, she's on tour now, so she can go back in the burner.
I hope, Mark Gastineau, he was a famous jet guy, the guy that danced. Mm-hmm. He retired in the middle of the season because he was in love with Brigitte Nielsen, one of the weirdest retirements of all time.
Yeah.
That was his girlfriend, and he wanted to be with her more, so he retired in the middle of the year in his prime. Man. I pray Travis Kelce, she makes him retire this season.
Dude, she was so hot in Rocky IV. Totally.
Yeah, she was.
It happens, bro.
Oh, man. Brigitte Nielsen ruined a lot of lives.
Yes. She was a diva way back in the day, but like he literally retired.
That's cool. I appreciate that.
Horrible. but
That's
yeah,
just me. Maddie, I'm going to piggyback off your McAfee tirade and just go. ESPN is the fucking devil. I fucking hate it because here's what I like trying to avoid this Michigan shit. If I go to if you go to Fox Sports website, right?
Yeah.
You don't really see much of this Taylor Swift bullshit. You only see like when there's substance to some Michigan reporting.
Yeah.
Whereas ESPN, my God, somebody leaks the smallest thing that is just an allegation and it goes on their front page talking about ball boys, talk about this. It's just all speculation. Sure. And it's just harmful though. Like, you know, like it's just bullshit.
Yeah, I think the channels find stories to milk. So like Fox is really
it's just all clickbait. But Fox doesn't really do that. They really do a good job of just sticking to like real sports shit.
Well, like with Belichick, like their main thing is like, should Belichick go? Is Belichick doing their shitty job? Is what's so like they're focused on certain stories where
like earlier in the year they were all on Colorado all the time.
Yeah,
sure.
Like everything was Colorado. But they chew you up and spit you out, you know.
They really do.
It's just, but I guess that an insanely
I remember
popular
with the Tom
website
Brady
too,
thing. They fucking made Mark Brunell cry on the air about the deflated footballs. Like he cried about footballs, and I'm like, this is just ESPN manipulation. They pushed that Deflategate so fucking hard. They made Mark Brunell cry about, this black dude wrote, a grown ass man crying about a football. One of the funniest things I ever saw.
Oh my God. All right, let's jump back into the college sports here. So we had a great, pretty good week last week. We had
it was decent.
It was decent. I shouldn't say great. The best part, of course, was Kansas upsetting Oklahoma.
Great game. Great
game. Bean is a good quarterback.
He's not even their best quarterback.
I know, but he's always been good.
But this week, go ahead.
I was gonna say he had a backbreaker like pick that was like pretty bad.
I think Oregon can win the national title, by the way.
I think they can too. And I think they split. I think they group into different tiers. I'm worried, especially Missouri versus Georgia this week. Yeah. I'm worried Georgia's just turning into form and they're just going to dominate and then beat Georgia again.
Somebody's going to beat them this year.
Washington has looked like ass since the Oregon game too.
Washington needs to fix themselves.
I feel like Oregon is getting better. Like Oregon they could have gone either way, but like I know Utah's got some injuries, but that was just a scrimmage.
It sucks that like I think both Oregon and Texas are better than Washington and Oklahoma, but that's why you play the game.
Yeah.
But I think right now those two teams are both looking better. But I mean, big games this week, at least for Texas.
Do you think we got a little action?
Texas versus KSU. What do you think, Jim?
I'm rooting for KSU so hard. They've looked like basically, especially Texas with the backup quarterback.
Yeah.
Like Kansas State's going to tell you how they want to play. They want to just dominate you on the lines. I know Texas is like a little beat up. And with K-State having kind of like two solid quarterbacks they can kind of use in different ways, I'm rolling with Kansas. I'm rooting for him. I got a buddy going to Austin to the game.
Oh wow.
Nice.
Like one of my K-State friends.
In?
No, I don't think so. I think this other guy's no.
What other big games are this week?
We got Bama LSU is probably
biggest game of that's the biggest one of the weekend.
Biggest game.
Winner has a very direct shot to the playoffs, I believe.
But LSU's got 2 losses.
I don't care. If LSU goes undefeated, I'm going to bet that they're in the playoffs.
Really?
2 losses.
I bet.
I don't think so.
It really does depend how things shake out. But I bet they would put a 2-loss LSU in over a 1-loss other conference championship.
It would have to be a 1-loss Michigan or Ohio State, or
I disagree.
A 1-loss Oregon or Washington.
I think Oregon gets above them.
Maybe Oregon, but
if Oregon wins out, they're the 4th team.
Yeah, LSU had some bad loss. They had a real bad loss.
The real bad loss was to Florida State, who honestly does have an argument to be like 1 or 2.
Sure.
The rankings this week don't fucking matter at all. But whatever.
No, I don't pay attention to those.
Like the loss to Florida State is something. The loss to Ole Miss was a close-ish one. But if they go undefeated, they're gonna have like the resume of you've beaten a pretty good Missouri team, like a good Missouri team. You'll have beaten Bama. You'll have beaten Georgia if they go undefeated.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Like
getting a little ahead of ourselves here.
No,
but
I'm saying that's why I said if they win out, if they win, like they have to win out because that would probably knock Georgia out.
I don't see that happening though. I do not.
A lot of it depends.
I think Georgia is still like until someone beats them.
That's the thing. A lot of it depends on how they look this week because they had a scare against Auburn, and then they've kind of just been rounding back into form. If Missouri plays them real close, I think Georgia's gettable.
Okay. It's hard on the road.
A lot of it does kind of like factor into how does Georgia look this week.
It would be a lot much easier for Missouri if they were at home.
It would be
Puncher's chance.
It's
hard on the road, but Bowers is such a big injury too.
Bama LSU is the one is like the biggest game of the weekend by far.
Yeah, and as Jim mentioned, Missouri Georgia is definitely going to be interesting. I didn't realize Missouri was like up to 12 too. They're
good.
They're having a good season.
They only had one loss, LSU.
They got
that was an up and down game.
They have some like legit receivers that have a good relationship with the quarterback. They are a good offense with a decent defense.
Very good offense.
And it's a 14.5-point spread.
Wow. Wowsies. We got Bedlam this week, which is always great.
I'm so excited. So I have a future writing on this potentially. I have a future on Oklahoma State to win the Big 12 this year.
Oh boy.
I'm riding it. They look good. They look good. They started the season trash. They lost to South Alabama, but like they've been rounding in. I think they're undefeated in conference play.
What is South Alabama's mascot?
By the end of the year,
the Eagles
always has them going.
All right, I'll take your word for it, Jim.
Oklahoma State's looking good.
Another one where you got to take the over is Washington USC. I don't know what that is, but
it's like I think I saw it was like 70 something.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Boy, if you would have told me a couple weeks ago, I'd say Washington was going to beat the shit out of them. I still think they can, but they've not looked good the last few weeks at all.
To be fair, I mean the Stanford one is kind of inexcusable. You should always look good against the Stanford team. The Arizona schools have kind of been like
they have.
They've been looking good.
They've been playing tough. Like nobody told them that they should be having a shit year, even though their records say that. They're still competing with all the top
very tough teams.
Yeah,
Jeb Fish, good coach at Arizona. Linked to the Michigan scandal.
I think he's getting I think Jeb Fish is like one of the better coaches right now this year in what he's doing.
Coach, yeah,
he's a great quarterback coach. I know that for sure. Let's see. Also, Notre Dame versus Clemson, and Clemson's having a down ass year. But
Clemson might not make a bowl game.
Right? No, and
it's crazy.
So doing a little research. So we're looking at Dabo with Venables as his D coordinator was 121-17, and without Venables 40-23. Still not bad, but still not 121-17.
What I think the bigger thing is, rather than Venables leaving, is more than almost any other coach in college football, Dabo has failed to adapt. He doesn't use the transfer portal almost at all.
Okay.
And he like really, he's been since like years and years ago, he's been super against name, image, and likeness. Guess what?
Yeah, which is
guess what the best
he's not
teams
like an
do.
Old coach either. It'd be one thing if it was like he was like one of these 60-70-year-old.
You guys remember that quote when name, image, and likeness got passed?
Yeah.
What did he say? Like
we built our program in name, image, and likeness. God's name, image, and likeness. The Lord's name, image, and likeness.
That was like a year he signed a $90 million contract too. Like
they really fell off because
he just hasn't adapted.
Yeah, we were talking them. Georgia, Alabama, Clemson are the three elite teams.
If you think of some of like the best players on the best teams, a lot of them are fucking transfers.
Absolutely,
yeah.
Michael Penix.
Like playing
even Bama takes transfers.
Playing the transfer portal is such a huge deal now, and name, image, and likeness is a huge deal, and he just doesn't do either of them.
You know, even like Coach K in college basketball, he was so against one and done guys. and he realized the last 10, 12 years of his career. Sorry, excuse me. You gotta go to one and done.
You're right there, Matty.
Yeah, I had to sneeze. You got to go to one and done. Like, you just know.
Actually, no, it doesn't work though. That I think he did win one year, but like a lot of the one and done schools don't really win it. Like you
No.
Not anymore. Not anymore. They don't.
But he knew he had to get those guys. He had to like accept that they're going to be one and done, and he took a lot of those guys, which he wouldn't at first.
No, I know, and I think he was wrong because he's if you could develop, I would take a fourth year senior, take a senior who's good over a great freshman.
I think that's the other thing.
A talent freshman.
I think it's similar in college basketball. Is the transfer portal's been crazy. Like it's been a boon for a lot of the smaller programs there.
I mean, look at Colorado. They were showing a stat. They have one player that started last year.
Yeah.
No,
and it shows on their offensive line.
It's a thing. It kind of sucks because one thing I liked about college sports before is like if that person's playing there, they're going to play there 4 years. That's the only team they'll be,
I mean, for college basketball,
associated with.
I'm with you there, Luke. But also in like a weird way, it is kind of fun to like look at a kid and be like, he's there now. Oh yeah, like people you forget about. There'll be some. Who are those two like USC quarterbacks that kept playing for years? They might even still be playing.
JT Daniels.
I'm pretty sure. Hey, guess what?
He's on 6 teams.
You guys know where he's at now?
Rice.
Yeah, Maddie, he's the Rice quarterback.
I know my shit.
He's playing this year?
Yeah, he's playing. He's actually looking pretty good too.
Rice hasn't been college. Bad. I think he's at 6 college.
There was another one from USC too because they were like
Jackson Dart. Wasn't it Dart?
Dart was one of them. I thought there was one.
There was a guy named Slovic or Slovis.
Yeah,
Keaton Slovis. Yeah. I remember him. Where the fuck is he at?
Like these were all Darnold's successors.
Well,
and they all surpassed each other each year.
Has literally been on 6 colleges.
Oh my god.
Okay, actually, do you know where Keaton Slovis is right now?
No, where?
It was it West Virginia before? Or was that JT?
No, that was JT Daniels. Okay, so he went from USC to Pitt.
Was that all JT?
No, he did. Keaton Slovis went to Pitt.
Oh, he would go to Pitt. Okay.
He's at BYU right now.
Oh boy. Did he have to do a year of missionary work?
Oh my god, I love this actually.
Does that mean he had to take a year off and go to Zimbabwe to talk about God?
Potentially.
Okay.
By the way, we're in a barn burner of a football game.
What's going on? Update it for the people listening.
Titans
that already know the results.
16-13. They got a punt to the Steelers. 9 minutes to go. We'll see if Kenny Pickens can get it going. I got George Pickens as one of my fantasy guys. He is not having a good game. No catches so far. One catch. He dropped a touchdown. He didn't drop it. He didn't get both feet in bounds for a touchdown. So
I also
16-13.
I did want to say, as Luke was saying, the Washington USC take the over. Iowa Northwestern probably take the under there. It's in Wrigley.
Oh God! By the way, R.I.P. Brian Ferentz.
Yeah,
done.
He's going to coach out the rest of the season, but he is done.
What's the over/under for USC Washington? 75, 76?
It's something like I think it's something crazy like that. Do you guys think Kirk retires after the year? Then?
No,
I don't think so. I think that's still a good gig for him.
He seemed pretty pissed.
The over/under is like 76.5.
Did you know that their AD was like still an interim? Iowa's AD is an interim AD.
How long they been interim for?
Like 6 months.
Oh, okay. That's right.
Because Gary Barta got let go.
Is after this Bachelor in Paradise? What's gonna happen on the beach?
No, we got Golden Bachelor before that.
I can't watch that. I just can't get into that.
Fantasy suites tonight.
If the chicks aren't hot, I just can't get into it. I know it sounds horrible.
No, some of those chicks are hot, dude. I'm telling you.
70-year-old.
Hey man, just
each his own. I know Jim will watch.
The wine, the sweet of the wine.
Matty, this is the first Bachelor I've been into for a while.
The Golden.
Yeah.
Have you masturbated to any of these fine 70-year-old ladies?
Matty, I don't masturbate to TV.
Oh, there you go.
Also Army Air Force for the Commander-in-Chief trophy.
Jim, will you?
Air Force undefeated.
Yeah.
We need you to write Sonny Tammy Stitch in jail when she goes to jail.
Oh, yeah.
Will you become pen pals and read your letters to us?
I'll see what I can do.
All right.
Yeah. You know, it kind of looks like Tammy Lynn Sitch now. That's shocking. Do you ever see what Bridget Fonda looks like?
Oh yeah, it's the same kind of thing where like these petite women then get older.
Balloon.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because some people
rough.
can carry weight very well. Others
You wouldn't
not so
recognize
much.
her at all.
No, hey, you get older, like Bridget
Yeah.
Fonda, like she's got nothing to prove. She had a
No, she doesn't
nice
care.
career. She comes from a long line
Yeah.
of great actors. Good for her. Her husband actually looks more bizarre. Danny Elfman, like he looks like Carrot Top now. Have you seen
Well,
him,
now
Maddie?
he's being
No.
Me Too.
Oh yeah, he got me too. But look him up, Maddie. He looks like fucking how Carrot
No,
Top
I saw
does
him. I
now.
saw
Yeah,
him
like
because my, Jake, my brother-in-law, took
yeah.
his son to see him at the Hollywood Bowl this weekend.
Oh, for the Halloween. I've always wanted to go to
Yeah.
that. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Totally do that. Yeah, but he's all like ripped, and then he looks like he has plastic surgery or something.
Yeah,
too.
it's always weird when you see an old guy really ripped and he's got like a perfect six-pack, but a body like it's like Vince McMahon back in the days.
Right.
By the way, his son Vince's grandson. Guess what college football team he plays on?
Oh, I don't know.
Shane has a son who plays Big Ten football.
Oh, really? We're let me guess, Northwestern.
Indiana.
I was
It
gonna
really
say I was gonna say Illinois.
I don't know if he plays or not, but he's on the Indiana team.
From
That's
the
crazy.
mean streets of Greenwich.
He's a freshman. I wonder if Grandpa Vinny goes to the games.
Probably not. I think
Probably
he's
not.
walking with a cane now too.
Probably
He's
like trying to like
hamming it up.
how are those
Can't wait for that
cheerleaders
documentary.
singing?
Hey, okay. Also, congratulations to Magic Johnson on becoming a billionaire the hard way. So this guy played at a time when players, like the top players, were getting paid like $1 million or $2 million a year. It was like bad.
Love
And then-
Magic. No, don't have a word bad to say about Magic.
So he actually had to
Wonderful guy.
learn how to Jerry Buss took him under his wing and taught him
Yep.
business. And Magic has
Mhm.
been a great businessman ever since retiring from basketball.
And I wish Washington the best. He's
All time tweeter.
he's a part owner of the Washington Commanders.
Yeah.
And I honestly calls them out when they've had bad games, which is always it's hard to go like all the guys are like, yeah, he's right, because he was like there was no effort this week. And sometimes like you don't like to hear that, but when Magic Johnson says it, you listen because he's been there before.
Maddie, did you see this hockey player killed in a game?
Yeah, I thought we would talk about it more, but I haven't. I don't want to watch it because I heard it looks like murder. That it looks like it almost was done on
It
purpose.
sounds like everyone's like worst fear because those blades are sharp
Yeah,
and you're
I
like
know,
at the
yeah.
wrong time it could really cut, and it finally happened. But some people are saying this was actually kind of malicious
Yeah.
and maybe not such an accident.
That's what they're investigating. There's a goalie years ago, Clint Malarchuk, who played on the Sabres. That happened to him, and luckily they stopped the bleeding, but it was very close to hitting an artery and him dying. So this almost happened once before, but it's a tragedy and it's horrible. And I just hope there's no foul play. But I don't know.
Maddie.
It's kind of like that car wreck. Remember that? I think it was Tony Stewart hit that guy that was like on the track, and it looked like he didn't move.
Sorry for laughing. I just like
Yeah, that was a horrible.
that was
thing.
the dumbest shit I've ever seen though. The guy walked right out in the middle of the
I know.
fucking speedway.
That was insane.
Oh boy. I mean, I've done some dumb shit, but that was really bad. Yeah. Other news, we got NBA starting up. We have Victor Wembanyama.
He's looked pretty good.
He's looking how we
looking
thought he
good.
was going to look.
The Celtics have looked pretty good.
Celtics are killing it. We have Harden to the Clippers.
Yeah, it's
God,
funny.
if you want to poison your fucking team.
It's gotten to the point where now it's like every team he goes to, like, oh, they got the championship wrapped up. And now it's like, yeah, it's not going to work.
No, and the Clippers have been playing some decent ball starting out too, like maybe finally getting some chemistry with all those people.
Yeah,
and then
well,
you bring
forget
in
about
Harden
that.
and you're like, oh God.
Well, it seems like him and Westbrook are very similar in their games. And so it's going to be hard with two of them together.
Well, Westbrook's been playing good too.
Yeah.
So like we'll see. I'm always down for a fun shit show. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully it'll be fun. Just make it fun.
Please
Oh,
just
yeah.
make it
Fun
fun.
show here. We're having
Make it fun. Like us. We're fun.
Yes.
We're fun.
When do you
folks.
guys usually end up getting like invested in the NBA?
About playoff time for me.
That's me too, Maddie. Me too.
I follow stats in the NBA.
Yeah,
quite a
I
bit.
follow the box scores, but
I'll bet on some of the games and check scores and stuff like that. But I don't think I sit down and watch a game. I'll probably watch. I'll watch a few around Christmas, like on Christmas, and then I'll watch like the playoffs.
This year's different because there's a holiday tournament.
Oh God,
that's right. That's right. There's a mid-season tournament.
Yeah,
it's a good idea.
Based off of some soccer thing they do.
Probably,
yeah. Probably. Do they get something for winning that?
I'm sure.
I don't know, like a little trophy, but it's not the.
No, I'm saying like, do you get like actual like a benefit to your team maybe for winning? I don't know.
No idea.
I think it's just a tournament, and you get like a whatever you win that tournament. I don't know if there's anything that continues into the regular season or postseason.
All it's going to make for is hilarious memes when someone wins the tournament and then loses like in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'll keep an open mind. I'll but I don't know. Like for NBA, I like players in the NBA. My teams are the Pistons and Lakers, but like I just love watching like young players trying to figure it out.
Watching entertaining like NBA, like really good NBA players.
Yeah,
like just the players. It's very entertaining.
Yeah, like if you watch Jokic or Doncic or LeBron or any other person that is like your favorite dude, then it's exciting for me because then I get more attached to the actual play than my team. So it gives me much more opportunities for enjoyment as opposed to just getting mad when the Pistons are not like winning all the time. So,
oh my God,
what happened, Maddie?
The Steelers just scored a touchdown.
Why did I do that to you?
2016 with 452. I was gonna take Tennessee in this pool for a lot of money, but Stuttering John right before this said he had Tennessee, and I 86 that bet.
Well, dude, this is how Will Levis's legend will be made with this big comeback here.
Yeah.
So,
well, are we all done?
Is that what
I'm having a blast. I just want to watch the end of this game. This game's getting good.
Maddie, we still got an hour and a half.
We got to do the XFL now, the merger.
No, there's potentially
Are we doing
an announcement next week. The announcement's next week.
The XPW reunion show.
Oh my God. All right. We will get out of here. Thank you everybody for tuning in. So maybe this one will be on YouTube. Seek us out. We'll let you know. All right. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week for another edition of the Sports Hole. Bye-bye.